Okay, hello and welcome to program 52. Can you believe it? It's an entire year. And what a joy it's been. What a learning curve. It never seems to finish. I just want to apologize up front. I'm just on the very tail end of a cold, and I just hope my throat's going to last out. So please bear with me if I splutter a bit along the way. I will do my very best not to send any germ down the pipe, your end. Okay, so this is the 13th of October, and it is 2015. We've had a kind of warmish, coolish day on and off, sun and rain. You know how that goes in England. And it is a fantastic evening I'm looking forward to. Now, before I bring on my extremely interesting guest, who is a contactee, a conscious channeler, and also a walk-in. Now, for some of you who may not have heard that term before, I'm going to let my guest, who's MARC BRINKERHOFF, tell you about that, but a bit later. First of all, I wanted to tell you a little bit about NASA. Apparently, it's to make an amazing announcement, and I think that's going to be this coming Thursday, about Pluto. So what could that be? So it says in a little bit of a news report here, NASA is set to reveal an amazing discovery about the key dwarf planet, Pluto, on Thursday, according to a scientist at the agency. Dr. Alan Stern, principal investigator on NASA's New Horizons probe, whilst recently imaged the planet, revealed the impending announcement at the University of Alberta, Canada. Stern said, NASA won't let me tell you what we're going to be telling you on Thursday, but it's amazing. He said, the world is alive, it has weather, it has hazes in the atmosphere, active geology. Wow. Every week I am floored. NASA's tiny New Horizons probe traveled 3 billion miles to Pluto, and now it's going even further into the unknown. NASA has picked out for the next target for the probe a mysterious 30-mile object called 2034, and I think that is, or 1434, MJER, which is 1 billion miles further into the Kuiper Belt region. So we will watch this space, and I'll feed back to you next week what that announcement might have been. And then someone alerted me to the fact, one of the biolocation team, in fact, and don't forget, folks, the 31st of October, which is a Saturday, we have our fantastic Discovering Forensic Dowsing processes and workshop going on then. So do join us if you can in the UK for the day. It's going to be an amazing set of tools which you'll be able to use in all kinds of scenarios and situations. So we're looking forward to that. And I'm hoping that we're going to do if not a webinar, then something via Skype where we can share with the world at large what they're doing in a workshop style, so people can feedback, and hopefully that'll be something we'll develop in the near future. So that's all coming down the pipe with the biolocation team. But anyway, they also pointed me in the direction of a new show that Peter Snow, a well-known presenter at the BBC, has started, and it's all to do with futuristic stuff. And this week's interesting article or fact is with Maggie Adair-Pocock. Now, she's a space scientist and astronomer, and what they were doing was getting into, I suppose, a DeLorean car and time traveling, and they were talking about aliens. Now, this is very interesting because the initial connection that she was flagging up in a sort of tongue-in-cheek fashion was that the aliens gave us an ultimatum on the planet. Either we clean up our act and they will just come and take us over. So that's okay, isn't it? Oof. Or if we don't clean up our act, they will just annihilate us. So apparently we travel into the future and we have cleaned up our act. That is all the pollution, all the greenhouse gases, all that kind of thing. And hey, those aliens pulled a joke on us. They're not going to take us over. They're friendly. Ooh, thank goodness for that. So apparently it seems that Maggie was indulging in some little jokey relationship to how things might really be with the ETs. And she actually cited almost, it wasn't quite word for word, but the Ronald Reagan address where he spoke about coming together in the face of an unknown threat from off planet, would kind of unify us. And that is what the ETs apparently said when we cleaned up our stuff, that it brought a unifying factor. So I just think it's very interesting that someone like the BBC, who's completely, it's completely controlled media outlet, is putting this stuff out there in a kind of fluky, flaky, funny way. And what are we to draw from that? So it's like they're preparing us for something, and we don't need to take it too seriously. And yeah, we're not going to be taken over. So anyway, some good aliens out there. Anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. It's kind of a bit of fluff and nonsense. And just to say that we are going to speak to Marc Brinkerhoff just after this next record. Now, this is Marc's choice, and it is The Carpenters, and it's calling all occupants of interstellar craft. So we'll be speaking to Marc, who's a walk-in, a contactee, in just a moment. See you in a minute. I'm back on. Well, that seemed to it's quite suddenly. There we go. Nothing like being caught unprepared, is there? Okay, folks, well, welcome back. And, I'm just, you have to excuse, maybe it's slight hysteria that it's the 52nd show and, I'm feeling it. It's a year in and and I'm just trying to hope my throat keeps going because I've just got a little cold I'm kicking into touch rather. And anyway, I want to invite you to meet Marc Brinkerhoff, who is an extremely interesting contactee. His website is intergalactic. Let me just read that properly. intergalacticmission.com. Now, Marc has been, he's a rare thing, a contactee, conscious channel and walk-in, as I mentioned before, and he's also very self-aware. He's an aspect, he says, from the 12th dimensional universals, and that's linked with the Ascended Masters. Now, I'm very interested in the Ascended Masters. I don't have any personal real experience of them, except through the work of Baird T. Spalding, who wrote The Life and Teachings of the Masters of the Far East. And that was a book which really, well, actually a series of books, which really got my attention because I totally believed it. And this guy, Baird T. Spalding, back in the late 1800s, went to India with several other colleagues. They were all from the mining field, that kind of thing. And they went to do some work with ancient texts and scripts, I think, that kind of thing. And they ended up meeting and spending time for weeks and months at a time with the what they call the Ascended Masters. And they experienced the most extraordinary things like their clothes didn't get dirty. I mean, really interesting practical things. And when there was a forest fire on one occasion, this guy was in between two of the masters. And these are just people who are at another level of understanding and learning. But he suddenly realized that he was no longer walking. He was actually kind of floating as these two masters created a bubble of safety whilst they traversed through this fire. And very extraordinary things. Anyway, if anybody's interested in that kind of material, it is worth a read because they're actually taken, there's 6 small volumes and they're taken from his journal, which he was never going to, in fact, publish, but he was pressed to in the end. And the last thing that I loved about him was that back in England, in the US, he was going to give a lecture in Canada. And whoever he was with said, well, shouldn't you have gone a long time ago because, the lecture's any minute and, hey, how are you going to do that? And the next thing they knew, he was gone. And then he was back. He'd done the lecture and he somehow had bilocated. So it's phenomenal. So, this was a real human being. It wasn't somebody from myths or mythologies. And that's very interesting. So Marc has also had a very unusual upbringing and background, knowing from a very young age that he was perhaps not quite of this earth. So I'd like to bring in Marc now. Welcome to the Ammach Files, Marc. How are you?
Hi, Joanne.
And you're over in New York, I believe.
Yes, New York City.
Lovely.
Is my speaking okay for you?
I think so. You're not using any foreign lingo on me now, are you?
No, I meant for clarity because I'm
yeah,
not, okay.
I can hear that. Stephen, perhaps you can just keep us aware if there's any issue there. And perhaps people in the chat room, if you're hearing us okay, perhaps just let us know. But we'll just get right on in there. So Marc, shall we delve in right at the beginning and just tell us about you coming onto this planet, being born? I mean, it's a little bit different for my experience of my coming onto the planet, for example.
First, I want to clarify something. Um, an aspect, when I say that, I'm not an ascended master, no. Where the crew is and everybody up there, they're coming from that area, they are these ascended beings. And I've had many contacts with them. So the thing is I don't want people to think I'm an ascended master. I'm not. But when I go out of body at night and I connect to my over self or my other self like that, a true self as we call them, then I am connected in and I have all that awareness and understanding. And then just the aspect we came down. So we're all an aspect of an over part of ourselves in another way of speaking.
Thanks for that.
Like, multifaceted, you know.
Yeah.
I came from space, and I remembered everything where I came from. Like people here might remember going on a vacation 2 years ago or 3. My memory as a child was always from space and where I was from and what I was doing. And at night when we go to sleep, I was going back to the spaceship, which I call home at the time. It's in Arcvana. But it was, for me, that was my reality. That was where I came from, and I understood that. For me, the earth plane where we are here, physical, is the dream state to me. It's like, this is not real. This is all an illusion. This is, yes, it's a challenge, and yes, in fun, we call it the cosmic boot camp in space. But because the souls come here to learn and train, and the lower the densities like this, the physical density, it is a training ground for souls, basically. And, you know, lessons in karma. It's mostly karma. And we're here, well, the beings that I'm with, my friends and crew, I call them family, we came to try to help souls come home, help the galactic universal beings who have taken lives and reincarnating back and forth, and they just keep coming back and forth without getting a way to go back. They keep reincarnating. And sometimes you don't have to keep reincarnating if you have lessons you want to learn here, yes, but sometimes people just want to go back, but they're so attached here on this planet that they might go back and come back and say, well, my family, my kid, or you know, children and grandchildren, and they might be being pulled back that way. But yet in the back of their mind, they might have, as a child recently, let's say now, for people we've met or I've met, they say, well, I've always felt I wasn't from here. I'd always looked at the stars as that where I come from. And they just didn't understand it. Well, that means that they're being called. In a way, you're waking up. But yes, okay, they're waking up. You know, they're, like they said, people are going through an awakening. In this time period right now is the awakening, and they're coming home. And so you'll see more and more, let's say, spaceships or UFO action around the planet, even more now than ever. Because
there really does seem to be that. But listen, Mark, before we get a little bit further on down the road with your story, I think it would be really interesting to just describe the process of you coming into, you know, being born, you know, what, and you know, what you reflected back to your mother, all that. I know you've told that story before, but our folks won't have heard that, and I think that's really fascinating. And then we can perhaps describe what it is that you mean by a walk-in. And again, that's, you know, it's quite unusual.
it is,
to have somebody who's a walk-in.
It is rare, I've found, but nowadays I meet some people, they think they are a walk-in. They'd say, well, some psychic told me I was a walk-in. And I said, well, why would you think that? Because usually a walk-in remembers that they came in. They don't just be told by a psychic and says you are. What happens is, from the understanding from where I'm coming from, I understand how it works. It's like a walk-in can take over a person's body, say if there's a car accident and maybe the person is meant to die at that time. Maybe the body's not too damaged, and that's when they can come in. If that they can utilize that body, there's an okay that goes on with that too. It's rare. I know someone's had that experience, I think in Australia. But the thing is what happens when you come in, they don't have the knowledge and the memory usually of the person's body that they took over. They might not feel any connection to the family who comes to say they're here to help them. They might be married and may not recognize the person. But through the memory in the brain, they might remember, oh, that might be my sister or brother, you know.
Yeah, so Mark, tell us the process that happened when you came in.
For me, it was different, but yet I had total memory of it, like, you know, like last week. So I, as a child, tried to figure out what was going on. And I had to keep talking it out to people like my mom and my father. And when I described all the things I knew, they were like, well, there's no way you can know this as a 4 years old, 5 years old, because I kept telling them in different times of my life. I kept saying, remember this, remember that. I was there that whole time. So what happened is, we've been on this planet in the past, but I was an etheric person, which is invisible on this plane of a dimension, but you can come through and become physical to be seen. And a lot of the ET people that we know of do that. They are Etherians, like Ashtar and his crews and some of the others. So we were working around the planet at the time, back millions of years ago. I mean, millions of years ago. And I remembered seeing dinosaurs and everything. And we worked with them. We were very tall at that time when we came in. So I came during times of Hopi Indians and different Native Americans. I don't like to say Indians and natives, or the let's say the children, because wherever the country they're in, they're called the children of that country. So then, let's say native race or something. So we worked with them, and so it's all through different times and periods. We're talking Egyptian, Atlantean times, and ancient times. So I remembered those things when we worked, and that was when we walked on the planet in these physical bodies, and then we would go back on our ships and become our Etherian selves again. So it was only to come through to help on the planet and then go back. So when we were trying to help at this time period, because it's a very important time, and everybody out there who's listening, you are a very brave and strong soul to come here at this time. This planet is going through changes, and we'll go through different energy fields and everything, but everybody who's chosen to come in now has chosen to become a witness for this planet and the solar system, what's going on here now. So brave souls, and you're finishing your work and everything. Well, we were trying to get in to help, but because none of us had karma here, we couldn't get a life to come in. So we talked with the beings that people know as, let's say, the Lords of Karma, or the different master teachers on different planets, where they help arrange things for you on this physical density. So we had to say what we were going to do. And that's 12 of us and my friends and crew. We came from another galaxy millions of years ago. But we just said we want to help in some way and get this information, and just be here to help with this new information we were going to try to bring in for that time, which meant for me it was back in the early 50s. The time we were talking about was coming now, actually, but for the changes that were going to come. So we have some teachings or protocols we were going to help souls with. That's all, the galactic people. And they said, well, who among you of the crew there and all of you have walked on the planet the most? And when we realized for me, it was me. And although they were with me, there were times I was here a couple of times more. So I guess it was me. And the reason that occurs is because karmically, or when people come back because of, for karmic reasons, because you've lived here before and that had been okayed, there's an energy that occurs with the planet that the soul, and each time you switch bodies, it's still the soul coming through. You have an energy connection. It's like a little battery support going on. I didn't have a battery support, so I'm walking around. So it's funny how I liked archaeology, because I was trying to find things that could be energy for me. But forgetting that stuff, they said, well, then it'll be me. So all my friends from the other side, we see through each other's eyes. We are one like that. So they knew that by me coming in, they can work with me in that way. And I'd be telepathic with them in some way. We understood that before I went in. Yeah. And so they arranged for, they tried to arrange for a body or a person that might have a body that's discarded. That's how you get in as a walk-in, it's discarded. And the soul leaves. And that's what happened. We discovered my father had a connection to me in space. And so my mother from Atlantean times, I met her back in those days when I was working there. And my wife also. I came actually to rescue my wife, who is my soulmate. So I came back to find her, to bring her home, because she had been coming back and forth for a few times now, maybe 50 times or so. And it was all set up how we were to meet. That was a whole nother thing. But that was how we got in. And what happened is my poor mom, she was having natural miscarriages, and after World War II. So before me were miscarriages, and after me were miscarriages. So I was able to get in, and was very small, and was in an incubator, which I remembered. But when I got in, my angel is with me. So it's a long story. I don't know if it's on the internet for me or not, but my angel was talking with me the whole time. And even when I went in to connect into the body, when the soul left, it said, baby's born, dead, I'm leaving. The baby was dead. So I had to make a decision right then with the angel. And so when I got in and we connected, the life monitors, all that stuff went back on. And the nurses were speaking to my mom saying, we don't know what just happened, what went wrong, but everything's okay. And I telepathically went by, I just got in because we connected. And Creator sends forth the life forces when you do that. And that was what it became. But the thing is even while I was going in, I said, I'm not going to forget. And they said, no. Because I remember going in and everything. I thought I was going to get veiled. Everybody gets a little veiling. But I said, I'm not going to forget this because I have to help. And the angels actually said, you're right. You're not getting veiled. So I'm a little kid, can't even speak, a little baby, and I'm having telepathy and going back and forth to the ship, just connecting. So this was happening ever since I was a kid, but I had no one to talk to. I didn't know how to talk about this because I thought everybody had this memory too. I thought this was normal until I talked to people, and they didn't. That was not normal. So where I go, it was home, and I mean the movie E.T. was based on some of my story because they interviewed me for that back in 1978, the day I met my wife actually in New York City, and home was what I told them. I said, well, we call the ship home, but it's got its own name, but it was my home and our home where I'm not on planets. And it's funny. So a lot of things from ET was used from my story because they tape recorded me back in 1978. And it was March 3rd, 1978.
Yeah, it's amazing. Let me ask a couple of questions. So I've got one question. It says, are you an let me see if I can say this, entheogen enthusiast? I don't even know what that is. Entheogen enthusiast, any ideas?
I do not. I've never heard that word.
No? Okay, well, maybe you can explain what that is, and we'll kind of ask again. Another question is, do you know?
No.
No, I don't know. Another question is how bad would the conditions be on this planet without your help or their help?
My help? Oh.
Not you personally necessarily all the time, but the kind of help that's coming onto the planet now. How bad would it be if we didn't have that help?
That's a good point. I do not know because the ETs who help, and these are a lot of times the Etherians. They are the ones working around the planet Earth here right now, and high Etherians. So they will be invisible if they show up. They'll put their ships on so you can see them, and when they come through, and then they teleport out and they flash off. Most of them are from Ashtar. The Ashtar Command. I know people have heard of the Ashtar Command, but Ashtar is a real being. He is a real person. And on August 10th, I met him on the ship. So he hugged me and he said, tell them I'm real. Because I see him out of body. I see him all the time when they're out of body on the ships.
Yeah, I have to say, sorry there, Mark. I've heard of the Ashtar Command, and I must say it's come in for quite a bit of stick, quite a lot of kind of ridicule as well, because there's so much stuff that's come down the pipe over the last, 20 years or so, the Ashtar Command and what's going on the planet. And it's very difficult for the rest of us who are here in kind of the general 3D format to kind of sense or feel or really understand what it is that is being input on the planet, or the way we're being, affected or whatever. I don't know if you can address that.
Well, Ashtar, I didn't always tune into the Ashtar Command even when I was young because I knew they were out there, but I just didn't tune into them. I was with my other guys that I work with, like the crew, as I call them, the upstage crew. But the more we got involved with helping Ashtar, and in the 1977 there was a voice transference from space to southern England.
That's right.
It was my friend or my older brother or captain or whatever you want to call my friend Asteron. But Asteron, and people can see his picture online. We're family. He's with me, and we all are with
So are you telling me that broadcast, which was interrupted a show, I think I've actually played that before now, that was your friend that doing that? Okay, maybe we should read that out.
He was with me in the car. I was driving to a UFO meeting in Yorktown Heights, New York, and they flashed my car lights on and off 3 times. That's our number. So I pulled over on the road in the backwoods. It's like fields. And I looked up to the sky, and they said, it's okay. because you could see them. And they said, so I got back in the car and I just sat there, and a voice came in the car, and the voice was so strong you thought someone just got in your back seat and you weren't looking. But I looked in the mirror, and Astron was there, and he said, we're going to try something, and it's going to be an experiment, so we'll let you know, but I want you to do this. Write down my name and tell all your friends tonight at the center where you're going the name, and tell them it's a test we're going to try, but he's giving the name on purpose. So I said, okay. So when I got back to the Yorktown Heights meeting, the people were waiting for me because I had been pulled over by the UFO. So the thing is, everybody took the name down, and they spelled it the way he told me. He said it's Astron, and to look forward to something. So about a week goes by, and that my friends call me up, and I'm always sky watching out early in the morning, like 4 a.m. And so I would be out sleeping in a little, and they called up and they said, did you see today's newspaper? And it was a Monday, and I said, no, not yet. They said, go to page whatever and check it out. It's your friend. So when I looked at it, it was Astron. There's a voice of Astron. So when they describe people, if people want to see some of this information, it is on our website, my website. Just look at the ETs or the extraterrestrials, contacts or close encounters, whatever. I have it up there. And you can click on Astron, and you'll see the actual newspaper clippings that we put on for now. There's more, but the ones that are on the website gives you an idea. There's something where he says, you must live together in peace or leave the galaxy. And what they were saying is they didn't want people to have any arms and to work together in peace and have light and all that, but to be able to join in with the command, the alliances and commands that are on other dimensions as well. We had to start becoming aware and wake up to this planet has a lot of war on it, a lot of anger, and a lot of jealousy or prejudice. We have to lose all that, because when you meet these ETs and these other beings that are out there that don't look human, and I've met a lot of them, they're beautiful, but people might be scared, and they might have a prejudicial thought. So they said, you have to learn to live together in peace. And they meant our planet as one, as a family, not countries and different races. See, they don't see races, they see soul. And when the beings in space say, we're all family, we're all brothers and sisters, we are all brothers and sisters in the light, yes, we are, as soul. So they said, if everybody can release this prejudice and stuff, we learn to live together in peace. When they said live together in peace or leave the galaxy, my friends in Yorktown at the time, when they saw that, they said, that sounded like a threat. What the heck did that mean, Mark? And I said, well, it's not a threat. What they mean is what's happening to the solar system and galaxy at the time. All the galaxies are moving together in space towards a certain space. And even the scientists on Earth and scientists don't know where that is. They just call it the Great Attraction. They don't have a name for it. But in space, where I've been out there, we go and we see things. There is a giant light there, and we call that in the Great Central Sun for now. That's what we call it. Other people might call something else the Great Central Sun, like in our galaxy, but we call it in space. This is that aspect.
Let me just ask another question, Mark. It says, have you ever encountered the jinn? And if so, have you ever come back in a jinn reality as a negative force? I'm really not quite sure about that.
No, I know what they're talking about, and that's.
I mean, I know about the jinn. I don't know. I'm just not sure about this coming back as a negative force.
No, just people out there listening, please do not focus on that energy, because it is of a lower energy and a manipulative type, and it's not of our time. It's not of our zones here in America, actually, but it's probably coming from the east somewhere, but it's not like a nature spirit. It's not a friendly being usually, but they're tricksters too. So I would say do not play with do not read about them, do not think about them, because you draw what you think to you. So don't think about little grays harassing you. There are actually beings out there that resemble grays, or the one they call gray, and they're different races and different species. And I've had contact with the race called the Ilalu, and they're white-skinned, very small, and they're very sweet and healing beings, but they're not physical, they're dimensional. The grays, if people think about them, they will draw that energy to them as well, so we got to be careful about that, because I used to know people that were had a baby or a fetus taken from them. So this is a long time ago, but don't play with them and don't think to them.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people are, having experiences whether they want them or not, and
I
that's a
know.
lot of the people I deal with, and
Yeah,
have a lot of work to do with, and for part of what I do is allowing people to have a safe platform in which to
yeah,
speak their truth, whatever that is, whether other people believe them or not. That's not the issue. It's they having an experience, and they need some healing from that, and it's finding a
that's right.
platform and a scenario in which they can safely, do all of that. Listen, I know that you have also taken a load of amazing photographs, and not just photographs, video of UFOs. And if everybody's okay with that, because people are talking about evidence, and of course that
Yep.
is the old big, thing, isn't it, about this field, evidence. So let's have a look. I know that we've got those queued up. We've got three different, just over a minute, some of them pieces. Now, just before we play them, what I wanted to say was that some of them really look like the work of John Leonard Waltham. I don't know if you've come across this guy.
No.
Okay, well, let's play, and I'll talk about John Leonard Waltham just perhaps in between some of the videos. So we're playing the first one. Let me just get my notes.
Some may look like videos, but they're actually stills that my wife put into a video
Oh,
format.
okay. All right. Well, we'll
I don't
have
have
a
a
look.
good video camera, so but we
Oh,
have good.
well, that's great. She's done a brilliant job. Phyllis, well done. So the first video is just, I think we've got it at a minute 10, I think that is. And it's a morphing UFO, and it was taken in May of this year in Central Park. So let's have a little look at that. Maybe. Ammach Files. So I think that is really phenomenal.
Did it come
And
through? I didn't know which one it was. Was it the gold one?
it was the May 14th one. I actually couldn't watch it live. I've seen them all, but I couldn't
Okay.
see that one
I
live.
don't use
Hey, we're getting there. Anyway, but it is phenomenal. But John Leonard Waltham is a guy, don't quite hear so much about him these days, but he was taking extraordinary videos in his back garden from a telescope which he actually had a video camera attached to. And the way he did it, he sort of kept that to himself, if you like. And he was plagued by black helicopters and God knows whatever else, because some of the stuff he was seeing was deep space platforms. They were massive,
Oh, now
absolutely
I know what you're
gargantuan.
saying.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's what the images that you put together, you and Phyllis put together, remind me of. So, amazing stuff. Let's have a look at the next video, which is that's a little bit longer, 1:49, and that was taken just in August 10th this year. Again, this one I think you said was taken about 12:45 p.m., and that's again in Central Park, New York. So we'll just let that play out and play on. So we're just waiting for that to pick up, but it is extraordinary there, Mark. Just what clarity you've got, and honestly, you've done an amazing job of getting those. I don't know if you've got one of those repeat shooter, kind of taking many
Yes,
pictures within a
yeah,
short
you
period of time.
can just
Brilliant
keep
stuff.
doing this to
Yeah,
it.
I forget what they call that process. But anyway, really
So
interesting. And
the May 14th images were the ones that show hearts and a cross in a symbol that looks like a hand, which was a pictogram that they sent. What I was filming didn't even look like that. It was a silvery, shimmering star, like a bright, like a star of Bethlehem, like a bright star, brighter than Jupiter. And it was
yeah,
in the
really.
midday, like 1 o'clock or so. So it's in the afternoon. And so I'm taking pictures of this close up. But with my binoculars, when I first looked at it, I could see there was a spaceship, an oval craft of white, like silver. So I thought, oh, this is great. And then when it comes out on the film, when my Phyllis and I downloads it, we're like, what? These are pictograms. And they said, wait till you see what's on that, because they were throwing these images out. But there's some actual heart shapes and beautiful imaging. I was like, whoa, you guys have pictograms here. You're trying to give us a clue of what's going on. They are from the Christ group. I know people haven't heard of this group before. I know some people I've talked to, they say, oh, I know that, but I know they didn't. but the thing is, in the 70s, I was talking about this. The crew I'm with, where we come from, is called the Osiglian group. That's a galaxy that once existed in the dimensional spaces here, but is now onto a higher frequency. So we're called the Osiglians, and people can see that spelling on the website.
Okay, I'll type that in. We're just going to have a look at this next video clip, which is the August 10th one in Central Park. And I said that was about 12:45 p.m. if I'm looking at my notes, reading my notes correctly. So I think I just find it fascinating because I haven't seen any images quite really like this since John Leonard Wilson's work. And it's interesting that we don't hear from him quite so much at the moment. So
I hope he's okay. I just hope he's okay.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's interesting.
I mean, the government knows about people. I know they know about me because back in the 70s, they tapped my phones. They had the black helicopter hovering over our house. So it's okay because I talk spiritual and I don't carry on about governments or anything. My whole thing is spiritual and metaphysical, and I feel like I'm not a threat. I just sound, it's okay if they say, oh, you sound like you're nuts. It's okay with me because I know what's going on here. And people have been with me on the spaceships through their out-of-body soul travel and remembered seeing me and being out there with us, including my friend Mike Warren and other people. So we don't really get upset if people think it's an illusion or they're something. I just don't bother. All I know is this.
Okay, so we're just going to see this clip now. Sorry, I was just waiting for that to just get queued up. So just so everybody can have a little look-see at that.
Hi, Mark here. On Monday, August 10, 2013, in the early afternoon, I went to Central Park to meditate and skywatch. 25 minutes, I telepathically heard, look up, and a sparkling white star-like object appeared overhead. I shot 26 images. In our 300mm lens, the film looked like a small object in the sky, and after blowing it up, we saw there was a disc. After that, they morphed into a variety of different shapes.
Yeah, you've done a really nice job, by the way, of putting those together, you and Phil. It's great.
Well,
It's
Phyllis does.
it's just really, really neat, and it's just a nice little package
Now,
because it's really hard. And I remember once, so many years ago, coming away from an incredible meditation, and when I was putting my chair back against a wall where I got it from, the entire wall was covered with I don't know. I just want to say there were photons, but it was like a sheet from floor to ceiling of these sparkles of light. And I was so astonished because it was my 3D vision, it wasn't inner visioning. And I said to my friend, "Oh my God, look at that!" And they couldn't see it. And but during that particular meditation, I was told, "Watch out! You are going to see a lot on camera." I mean, that was years ago. But it seems to be that, I mean, I know we've got all the hoo-ha of photoshopping and whether it's real or not real, but all of that. But what opportunities we have these days to have this material is fantastic. So thank you for putting this material up there, because it is, whatever anybody else thinks, it's great that you're able to do that. So we're going to go straight to the next one. This is the last one I'm going to show. It's just to give people a flavor of the stuff, material that you're capturing. This is an April 18th one. And this is 6 p.m., I believe, Central Park. So it's just over a minute. So let's have a little look-see at that. I just think it's fascinating. So thanks for that, Mark. Very interesting. I've just put the name that you mentioned. If you can say it again, the Alciglian group.
Alciglian, yeah.
Alciglian group. So the Alciglian group, is that actually a place, a location, or is it a name, like a spiritual name, or?
It's the name of the galaxy, Alciglion. So because we came as messengers and helpers, they called us we're a group. That's all. And there's others. There's me with my friends and 12 of us or so, and then there's others in different galaxy and other parts of this galaxy. So there's quite a few of us at the different what do you call it, solar systems and different places where there's 3D life as well as ethereal life. So we're teachers, we're helpers. Now, interesting about this video you showed just now, that what we saw in the sky, what we were filming, what I was filming with the camera, was a shimmering diamond, like a star, just shimmering. It just shimmered. When we got the close-ups here, this is what was showing. A lot of dimensional discs or so. They're going very quickly, and for me, it looked like one UFO. But when I was looking through the camera and with binoculars, so when we got the film, this was one of the first types they would do pictograms with, trying to show us energy. Now there's energy embedded within all these images, especially these gold ones are really got gold energy into them, and they in their ionic plasma frequency fields around the ships that they use here. So these are the high dimensional types, and so there's energy there for people when they look at these pictures. If they close up on one, just study it, just look at it. There's an actual frequency that works and affects our pituitary and pineal gland for crown chakra awakening energy. So this is the information the crew gave us when we got the pictures and downloaded them, because I thought we were going to get this beautiful shimmering, beautiful star with a disc in the center or something, because that's what I was filming. That's what I was looking at.
Okay, Mark, let me get another couple of questions out there. It says, why would reincarnation have any purpose If all we do is return as positive energy personas, surely we would never have to reincarnate if we had learned our lessons. I imagine now, probably Patrick, I could not change my ID on the old. Oh, I was, forget that last bit. So if we had learned our lessons, so basically, why would we keep coming back if we were already, kind of had learned those lessons?
Now,
What are your thoughts?
this is fun, everybody. Usually I talk about this in lectures, but it's okay. Okay, we're all like a godlike, let's say God's self, or God creator manifested us through thought, let's say this, and we are souls. Now the angelic realm came first, but we came after that. And because when we learned on these other frequencies, very high dimensional spaces, and then creator manifested through, and people want to call that the Big Bang, but whatever, came through at the physical densities, and that would have been an energy field that came through. We were already on these higher density energy fields as like souls working and having fun and doing things like let's say God self, oversoul, true self, things like that. When we created aspects of ourselves, it's like a salt shaker, like they told me a long time ago as a child, a salt shaker with all the salt. You, as the salt shaker, you're the oversoul, the God self, the true self, the authentic, what people want to call this, the total self. All the little grains of salt are aspects of you and your consciousness and thought. And there could be one little salt grain here on Earth right now living. That's Joanne, or Mark, and people. And then there's another salt shaker grain in another galaxy as another entity of light, or another one on another dimension in another solar system or other galaxies. We are actually experiencing everything at once, even though it doesn't feel like that on the dimensional planes. So when people say, well, it's all one and happening now, the space people all say to this to me in the higher realms, it's all happening at once, and it's where we focus. But that's too much for our Earth mind and to comprehend. But when we're out, far out on those high dimensional spaces beyond the 12th and 22nd and beyond, you understand everything that's going on. And as a little kid, like 6th grade, 3rd grade, or whatever, 1960s for me, I was saying how there's other places we go, and I had people would ask me, like, what are you talking about? And I said 12 levels. I would go out to other levels where we could form a body of a spiritual body sent to work with. And that would be on the ships. So until even in the 70s, I was talking 12-dimensional spaces and beyond this planet. But now I hear it more. But that might mean some people are finally experiencing some of that now. But back in my young days, it was my home. That's where we go. But I can explain how that works. So the aspect, it's like our friend Yeshua, or people know as Yeshua, Jesus. He can be in many places at once on Earth. He can be in one tabernacle. He could be someplace else. He could be with you right now, or by someone's dying bedside. All that is aspects of Christ, and he can do that as many times as he wants. He is there, and when he's there, he is there. So as soul, we are here from the higher aspects of ourself, but we have been veiled. Most of the people are veiled when they're going through karmic lessons. And I know the person was asking about that. So we choose to come back to work on whatever we feel we need work with. It's like, and certain things have to be handled in dense physical realities. If somebody kills someone or hurts someone, a person might say, well, now I got to come back and maybe experience something like that again, or something similar where they are now attacked or hit or something. And that's true. That's how that kind of works. It's a balance. And when Creator said in the biblically, he says, vengeance is mine. I hate that word vengeance, but the Creator was saying, like, I take care of it. Don't you worry. You just forgive. By forgiving and letting go as best we can, work through it, that soul. Turning the other cheek, like Yeshua said, doesn't mean turn the other cheek and get punched. It just means turn the other cheek because it's forgiveness. It's really forgiveness and loving each other as brothers and sisters. So we come back and choose to come back. And many people choose to come back even though they might not have much karma to fix in any way. They just want to come back to help. So different souls will do that, like bodhisattvas, Dalai Lama, let's say, they come back to keep helping the souls who are here.
Can
So
I just ask then, Mark? It says another question is, why is the selective process denying most of us then? I don't know quite what that means. Why are there always leaders who, oh, that's in quotes, who bring the great unwashed the messages? That's my problem. That's not my personal problem. That's the questioner. So I'm
I'm
not
not
quite
sure
sure
if I
what they mean, to be
understand
honest.
it.
Why is the selective process denying most of us then? I don't know what that means, denying most of us what.
Well, it's
Why are
like
there always
what's happening.
leaders?
Yeah, what's happening on planet Earth now is like a replay of what went on during the times of ancient Atlantean times. I know people say, "Oh, Atlantis," but it actually existed, but it was called Atlan. They got very scientific near the end in different ways, and then, like today, we have very scientific people, and they started messing around with crystals and different types of energy things, giant crystal things, and they created beams and all that. Now that became destructive, and I was here during that time. It was helping people off planet, helping them get out of the planet, off the planet at the time. And sometimes we had to bring some people back after it was better. The planet was much more calm. Now I've met actual people on Earth now, and some of my friends are passed on, but they remembered me coming and helping them get off the planet in the ships with my friends. So I've met a lot of people who I've mostly had contact with times at Atlantis, and psychics would come up to me and say, "I knew you in Atlantis, and you were this being in space and tall person." And I was like, "Wow!" And one lady once had almost my name totally that I use in space. So I thought, "Wow, she was not told this. I didn't tell anybody." So this is happening now. We're having a replay, and the same types of people in control right now of planet Earth, meaning leaders of the planets of this planet, are similar, having the same leadership again, kind of what they went through before, but now they have to make better choices. They're given a second opportunity. But I don't know. I'm hoping they make the right choices, because really we have to
Yeah,
come together in oneness and stop
absolutely.
fighting.
Yeah,
And it's just
yeah.
crazy stuff. Because in space, where the ETs are, and I'll say our brothers and sisters of the light, and they're amazing beings in their beauty, and their love is so warm and engulfing. It's euphoric love of like creator, like you just saw an angel. That's the
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think that I think there is so much of the positive, but you know, I also get to hear, because of the nature of what I do, and who I link with, you know, a lot of very traumatic stories
Mhm,
also about people's experiences with those beings who do not seem to be quite so loving. In fact, downright cruel
mhm.
and downright, you know, challenging to say the very least. So I don't know what your thoughts are about them in terms of the relationship with those ETs, with the kind of ETs that you know, and just to follow on with a little comment somebody made, again, I don't know who the comment is from, but it says it would be a whole lot easier if these higher beings took a slot on the show and just told their story. That would blow
Well,
them.
they are telling it through me right now if you want. But the thing is it is, you know, like in Star Trek or these movies, there's like a command out there that's you can't come to the planet and do everything for them. It's kind of that, what's going on with these planets. They can observe and they can help if they can. When they help, it's when we interfere with them. So now, when World War II was happening and the bombs were going to Hiroshima and all these horrible things, and bless all the souls who were there and all the people who gave of their lives and helped. But this was something that happened, and the ETs from our solar system and those who live within the etheric realms of planet Earth, who are still from space as well, that's when you saw a lot of action happening around the planet when they were trying, like the Foo Fighters, they were trying to make sure they
Yeah, for sure.
because they saw a man as a child, like a 5-year-old, suddenly having nuclear weapons or you know bazookas and things, and they didn't know how to handle this energy, and that's what the ETs came for, and they would shut things down, which they do today. When a bomb is trying to be tested in the ocean in the 70s, I remember reading this from
Yeah.
China. They were trying to test a bomb in the ocean. Spaceship came down from the clouds. Each time they were trying to push the button on the boat, on the ship, I mean, and hovered, and the buttons wouldn't work, and nothing would work. The wouldn't launch, and they would go back up to the cloud. So that
Yeah.
happened 3 times when they kept doing that, and the ship came down and did that and shut it off. So they finally turned around and said, "We can't do this. It's not going to work." Because
Yeah.
this has been done before. They've shut down.
Yeah, I'm absolutely aware of that. But
So
listen, Mark,
that's because
um,
they know something bad would happen with that. And that's
yeah.
And
Well, listen, let's give you a little break. Let's play a little bit of Sam Cooke, and things are going to change because I'm sure that they are. And I'm going to dedicate this to actually to all you guys out there, because I know that you guys have a really tough time sometimes, and with all the emotional stuff and everything else, you have a lot on your plate. I know we girls have the different stuff, but I'm going to dedicate this song to all you guys everywhere. And then afterwards, we're going to come back and have a look at some of these light symbols that Mark has got, and a couple more questions. But for now, let's listen to Sam Cooke, and things are going to change. Symbols that you got. Now, I think, I'm just looking at my notes, I think they only came through, was it just this August? Is that correct?
August 1st, yeah.
August, yeah, this year though, is that right? Sorry.
Yeah, I've seen them out on the spaceships since I was a kid. I just
Okay.
saw them moving, and I was older. I mean, in my other body form, I intuitively knew what they meant, but in my over part. But as I had my consciousness sometimes going through the ship, and I would observe everything, even though I'm walking in my other form, I saw them move across the walls in different ways, but I just didn't go over to them at the time. And they were trying to get me to go check them out, but it wasn't the timing yet. But I thought they were just beautiful little artwork, just little designs that went across us, 3D.
Yeah, so we've got one, Mark. I don't know whether you can see the one that I'm looking at. Actually, you probably can't. It's the one with the two squiggles either side. I don't know. Hey, I'm just going to see if
Okay.
we can put that one in the chat, Stephen. On the side. It's okay. So that's not helping you at all.
Okay.
So,
when you say, is it the?
It looks a little bit like a moustache.
Brother.
That one. Let me just go and have a look, and I will. Let me go and just have a look at those symbols, and I'll tell you which one that was. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's brother. The one you're talking about. 'Cause I'm looking
Yeah, it is. It's called brother, and it says the symbol should be drawn with your mind on every male you see to establish brotherhood. Okay. So just within your inner mind, that's probably why it looks like a little moustache.
Well, it's funny because it has so much representation, which I found out about. It's like almost like this.
Yes.
You got this. So when I did that too, I said, "Oh my gosh, it does remind me of that." So it's funny, but there's all meanings through this symbology of this. One side of the spiral comes in like this with the energy to the soul. One comes from creator energy, goes to the soul for oneness. And the female is a little different, a little bit. It goes like that. There's a whole different reason for sister. And we've tested all these out, even on subways. You know, we're driving on the
Okay, well, let's just have a look and see if we've got another one just to put up. I'll just see what we've got coming up. If you can put that next image up. I don't know whether people can see that yet. Sorry, excuse my throat is just beginning to give up on me.
Oh, no.
I'm just going to see if we can put the next symbol up. Okay. Let's have a look. I'm just seeing if I can see it on my screen. If I can't, then what I'll do is I'm going to just describe it first of all, and then maybe Stephen can put that up for us. It's a little bit different. It's a bit more of a scroll with a curved one end, and we'll get that symbol up shortly, I hope.
Spiritual abundance. Oh, no.
No, it says the symbol could be the most powerful of all when used with love and reverence. It's praise Yahweh. I don't know about the Yahweh character myself, but also the creator will kind of work for me. I can
it's another name for creator, and it's actually in our own DNA. So we use Yahweh, creator, infinite light, infinite one, the absolute. So it's a praise symbol, and also we could say an alleluia symbol.
So it's like I'd also say gratitude. In praise, would you agree with that, or would gratitude not be?
We actually have a gratitude symbol.
Oh, all right, okay.
In the book, this one brings in, when we've done this with groups of people, and we play a song called it's called Haka Bell by.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just lost her name, but
Joanne.
No, not your name.
Oh,
No, the one that sings it. I just flashed off of her face. I just like
so
she
I'm not.
sings Alleluia with the song of Sound of
All
Pocket.
right.
She's singing Alleluia, Alleluia, just like that. And she's wonderful. And people know her out there. She's an opera singer as well. Blonde lady, beautiful lady. So we played that song with Alleluia, and we did the symbol all around. Ceiling, floor, I did it, but the people were just doing it like this with their eyes closed and singing that to themselves, Hallelujah. And in the house where we were doing this, where there was no window open, I have to say, everybody, the Holy Spirit came through the room 3 times, because it came through with the breeze and the wind and went through everybody, and all you felt was engulfed by love. And it went around the room 3 times, and people were sitting with their eyes closed doing the symbol in the air. And they go, "What was that?" I'm like, "Gosh, it's like love." And one of our friends was there too, and she started crying, just spontaneously crying with the love. So that energy of that praise, that just love, it's just praise and creator for life and everything about life.
And it's interesting just to pick up on the symbol. I was listening to an Alex Collier interview last night, and he was emphasizing the multidimensionality of symbols, of the very many layers that one symbol, feeds and transmits and translates to a body, and that it is a very different process. And also then it puts me in mind of Masaru Emoto, who passed, I think, just last year, and how things, I just use the word gratitude and perhaps love again, and when you show those intentions crystallized in water, that they do produce the most stunning images of such beauty. So it's true, these symbols, whatever words we use, and I myself do find I get a bit hooked up on the religious terminology. I'm absolutely not into religion. I do find it a stumbling block. But
that's true.
I absolutely do.
Even ETs are not into religion. There is no religion in space. There is only
Good, I'm
creation.
glad to hear that.
Yeah, no, because everything's
right then.
stuff. And they said always somebody's trying to control someone. Everybody in those higher realms, they know the creator, and you are a friend. You know the creator, and you love the creator. So Yeshua is real, and all these, and Blessed Mother is real. All these people are real, but they've always said to me when I work with them all, and they say, "Well, it's not about religion. It's about trust, faith, and love, and falling out to them. They will come to you."
Okay, so the other symbol that we've got up now is the overself, two-dimensional universal aspect, higher self. So that's what folks will see on the screen as well. So again, just a little talk about that.
That's overself coming down through dimensional spaces, the frequency going like this, and to the either lower aspect on another dimension, or a physical person like we are here. We're an aspect of the divine other aspect of our total self. It's a telepathic communication. And these symbols are actually sometimes 3D. When they move, they're 3D. And that's interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
And they're light. They're not black and white like this. They're light, made of color, and they glow.
All righty. Okay, that's great. So there's just some comments here. Are you saying that there are only certain humans that will be saved, and are you helping to choose them? I didn't know that you were that was something that you mentioned about you saving them. But anyway.
Oh no, that was back in the Atlantean times when we came to help rescue people, and they can still do that.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay.
Yeah. Now, if we go quickly for 2 seconds backwards to August 10th, to those photographs that people could look at. The first photograph is like 1 minute, 15 seconds, or 15 seconds and 30 milliseconds. The next one is at 1:42 or so. 24 minutes were missing. Now, I didn't recognize the minutes happening to me, but when my wife downloaded them, the minutes were there, and I couldn't believe it until she showed me. She goes, "No, these are not seconds, they're minutes. Look at this. For 24 minutes, you weren't taking a picture of a UFO. That's not like you." But anyway, the UFOs don't stay that long. They only come in, hang a little bit, maybe not even a minute or two, and then they're gone. They just take off. So I was on board that 24 minutes with ET friends of ours, Ashtar as well. And that's where I met all the other guys we know and girls. Now, that day before this occurred, a man walked up to me in the park, which never happens. Nobody ever comes to me in the park. But he came to the place where I'm hiding. I hide and I do my prayers and my words that I say. Adonai Basu Bragas Adonai Basu. And they're on the website for everybody to look at under words or something of the intergalactic mission there. But this man comes over to me. He's like almost 7 feet tall. He's huge. And I thought to myself, as he was walking, I saw him coming peripherally. And I said, who's coming towards me? Because I'm alone over here in the spot where no one comes. But he came directly. And I looked at him. He's looking directly at me. And he telepathically was just loving. You know, I could only see love around his energy.
So and was he 3D? Was he like a full?
Well, to me, he was a person, and he talked with me. He sat down next to me. He says, can I do an interview? Can I interview you? And I said, okay. But he was tall. Now, when you're sitting down with people, you're roughly around there looking at their face around here. If they're taller than you, they're not very much taller in the torso. This guy sat down next to me, and I'm looking up here. His head's over here, and I was putting it together, and every time I tried to, his telepathy would cloud it, so I wasn't saying what it was. But he was young looking, like no flaws on his skin. He had large eyes, larger than ours, and he was just talking to me. So I said, well, what do you want to interview me about? And he says, how about what's happening right now? And he just said it in that way. And then he looked up to the sky, and I looked up, and there was nothing there, but I thought invisibly they're there. Now, when he left after we talked, he also had a little mechanism he was holding in front of me, like it was a microphone, but it wasn't, because I could see it wasn't a microphone. But he wasn't holding it at my mouth area. He was moving it around me. So I realized as a ET, he was working with my energy field, even though, you know, the work field, preparing me for what was going to happen in about 10, 15 minutes later. So when he got up and left, and we thanked each other, God bless you, and all that. He says, God bless you. He walks away. He's not even 6 feet from me when I'm standing up, going, that's not a guy. I'm not trying to follow him. And he's walking very oddly. He doesn't walk normally. He was walking very tall and strange, slow. And people were all around, and he's not talking to them to interview them. And I noticed all the people are not noticing he's walking by. Usually people notice they're talking. They look at somebody walking. Nobody looked. So I thought, uh-oh. So I followed around. I watched him go down a path to where he's supposed to lead to a road out here, and he just disappeared. So I then went to a place where there's a tree and bushes, and I sat there and went there with my bags, my photography equipment. And that's when I got taken on board the ship after the spaceship came. And they called me, and I looked up, took one photo, and then took binoculars to look. Put the binoculars down, picked the camera back up to take more pictures. And that was what I remembered. Click, 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 click. But I do taking the binoculars up, and I was looking at it and said, see a spaceship. Telepathically, I heard, don't stare too long, because too much time will go between pictures. And I thought, no, I should put this down. But I noticed that total silence engulfed me. No sounds from the park. And one thing I noticed, there was people having a picnic. When I was on the bench talking to him, to my left, they were in a picnic there. And they would have been on my right when I was near the tree where I was at the end. And they were there when I took the camera the first time. When I took the binoculars, and I put them down, when I came back, when they teleported me back into that thought energy there, I noticed the people at the picnic are way down on my left with their baby carriage going out of the park. And I only thought, that was odd. They were there, now they're there. So it's funny, but...
Let me ask you a couple more questions, Mark. One is, what do you know about the mass loss of lives coming in the very near future? So they're making an absolute statement about that, it seems. So do you have any knowledge or understanding about this apparent mass loss of life coming up? I mean, I know it's mooted left, right, and centre. What with the Georgia Guidestones, just to name one area. And
I will say this for everybody, because everybody's been predicting for months and years ago this stuff was going to go on, and the crew and the guy up there, they just kept saying, don't just tell them nothing's going to happen. It's all conspiracy theory stuff that's going on. And all along, even the last few months, with the meteors that are not going to crash and all, I said, don't worry about it. They're not going to crash. They're not letting the planet Earth dissolve and blow up. It's happened before in the solar system. They're not going to let it happen. And they have pushed different meteors away at the right moment. And certain weather storms as well. They can help with that in the angelic realm. So they've always said, don't worry about it. But what people are predicting about these guide stones is, these are, again, fear tactics. We have to watch out for our fear. They manipulate us through different things like, worries and fears and conspiracy theories. Listen to your inner guidance, listen to your inner soul, listen to your gut reaction, listen to your intuition, take the microphones and things out of our headphones off, and listen to the angels who are here to guide us, because these are distractions I saw happening in 1978. I had a whole vision of what was going to happen, but I didn't understand it. And I kept telling people what was happening, but I said, what are these things? I kept seeing people tapping. I thought they were radios back in 78, but we saw everything from headphones to Walkman, to cell phones, and I didn't understand what I was looking at. But they said, when you see these things happen, and they showed me the last picture that I saw, which was a movie that went by really quick, was what looked like a tiny little device. Now we got cell phones that are really tiny too, and other things. And they showed the last one. One of the last ones was an individual thing in the ear, like a Bluetooth, and then it went into something even finer, almost like the spies would have. And there was no more wires hanging. And they said, when these things occur, which is happening kind of now, I think, then you'll know the time is near. So the time is near for things happening on planet Earth right now. So don't fall into, take the things out of your ears, everybody. Just, I know you're addicted to it.
It's like, pay attention, isn't it? It's like, don't fall into the distraction.
Too much texting to self.
Be conscious.
Come out of yourself and get selfless and start helping others. Start looking at others. It's not about you or us or anything. It's about all of us, and we're all here to, we're all moving together. But if everybody's getting involved with only themselves and not communicating anymore, or only listening to this or tapping that and only reading this conspiracy stuff all over the place, we're going to be distracted. And this is all times of distraction. So we have to really get in, start praying, start talking to Creator. People say, well, praying, well, meditate, talk to Creator, Mother, Father, Creator, as your brother, mother, father, sister. Just do it like that, and tell and ask questions. A lot of information I was given as a child was because I went out into the fields and just asked, and I had the download come in, like the answers would come in. Now, in the silence is the knowing, the masters teach. In the silence is the knowing. When you go silent, when you're within, and not about you anymore. We're out of us and our egos. We have to be one with Creator. In the silence, you ask your question, then be silent and wait for the answer. And you get answers. Either that or an answer will come in the next day, and it might be you meet, or you pick up the book, someone hands you a book, you turn the radio, there's a song.
So let me get another question off there. Are you aware of our so-called leaders heading off to the new planet because they know what's coming, being they are the ones destroying it? Yeah, well. So do you have any knowledge that our so-called leaders are heading off to a new planet?
A few things, but I don't get into governmental stuff because I'm not about that. Neither are the space people, really. We're just about helping. But I've been out there in space, and I have not seen anything called Nibiru. Now, I want people to know that there are planets out there, and there are other places out there, like giant planet things that are out there, and they're very far out. Because even as a child, I told my dad there was 12 in our solar system, and that included the one that blew up, which was between Mars and Jupiter, the planet Maldek at the time we called it. But that's when the solar system got thrown out of balance. And then they brought in the fake moons, like Mars and Jupiter, certain moons of Mars. The 2 moons of Mars are fake. Our moon is fake. And I've known it since I was 5 years old. And I would tell my father, because I've been out there, and I said, well, there's people in the moon. It's a spaceship. It's a spaceship. And it's
so Mark, just picking up on the moon business. Sorry to interrupt you there, because again, I was just, there's a lot of people that think, a lot of opinions about the moon, about it being, an unnatural body to our Earth, and that it was actually brought from another location. And again, it just reminded me, I can't think of the details now, but listening to, again, Alex Collier last night, he was talking about the time the moon was indeed brought into situ around our planet. And I can't remember the timing. Do you have any idea of the timing on that? And also the age, because our moon, they say, is, a certain few billion years old, but apparently it's phenomenally old.
I'll tell people, I've been telling people this when I gave lectures since the 70s, I guess. The moon is the ancient core of an ancient planet that had long gone away, far, far away in another solar system galaxy. Doesn't matter, it's just far away. They rebuilt the interior to be disguised as a meteor type, planetoid, which is Mars. Phobos and Deimos are the same, and Titan has people inside. But they brought the moon here to put the balance back in the solar system after the other planets blew up. Different things had happened. So the other moons were brought in. So we're talking a lot of millions of years ago, way before dinosaurs. And remember, Earth has flipped 3 times like that. It's been over. We've had civilizations here before. Everybody thinks it's not as old. And back then, that was another time. The people who were on Mars and on the Maldek planet, there was all the space things going on here at that time too. So the Earth was still doing its own little forms, but there were still space beings here. And in ancient Atlantean time, we call Atlan, was 250 million years ago. And that was a space colony here from other places. A lot of different races came here to see if to be here on the planet. This planet Earth is known as a resource planet in space. So it's always known that there was waters and different things here, minerals. So the physical density beings, and even some of the lower dense, lower Etherians, work with some of the minerals and on this planet, or on planets, I mean, totally. But they have golds and different types of minerals that are different from Earth. Yet they knew they can come through this solar system and get to this planet for water. It was a lot of water here. And still UFOs today will take some water and take off, utilize it. But they're physical people. Yeah. These are physical people like us, and our governments who are working with the physical beings are helping them. There's an exchange of technology, but remember, physical beings working with us want exchanges. There's a resource, there's something exchanged. The ETs I work with, our friends on the high ethereals as well as Ashtar, they need no resources from this planet. They're only for the souls and the goodness of our progression of soul as well, our awareness. So that's what we're about. Now, there are places in space that people of Earth had visited, and they wouldn't have got there on their own because they don't have the technology. So Earth is not built enough Earth people, I'd say. Whatever technology they borrowed or got from other ETs is how they are going through space with other ETs. They on their own have not created anything that they could get past the moon, because the materials we have on planet Earth cannot handle deep space with the solar energy coming through the metal. The spaceships utilize an ionization field and create an atmosphere effect of like a planet around their craft, so they can fly like this and jump like that and nobody gets thrown around. So if they were out in space and they monitored Mars or other places, it would be through other ET friends that they've made of Earth. But you see, I'm not into the physical dense people, because they want something from our planet, or they're working with governments, and in that exchange, I always feel don't want to be a part of that. I've been teleported on ships a couple of times, lost time, gained time. But
I heard of that too, where people have gained time as well. That's an interesting one.
It took me 5 minutes because they jumped me and put me back. So it was like they put me back in, and I was on a ship with them. So this is what happened on August 10th. So this is what they're showing us, that they can do this with people when needed. We can be rescued or helped in any way, and they can come and talk with you and walk with you and have a cup of tea. But what they need, what the main reason is, what we need to do is get rid of our distractions, detox our bodies because of the poisons that are happening on the planet now. Let's say all kinds of chemicals and what's in the air, as well as what we eat. Eat as organically as you can and purified as you can. Bless all your food. And anything you eat, whether you're vegetarian or not, doesn't just bless everything you eat for, and the people who handled the food or chopped it up or farmed it, whatever. Put the blessing out like that. And if you're at a restaurant, send it to the waiters, send it energy and blessings to your cooks and everyone, so that whatever they might have been working on and thinking about, whether they were angry at their boyfriend or girlfriend, won't go into your food anymore. It'll be canceled out.
That's a big ask, I have to tell you, Mark. That is a huge ask, for us to be conscious moment by moment. I'm speaking for myself here, but I know that's how it goes. I do know also, just talking about blessing food and all the rest of it.
Here's a blessing. It's this way right here. This is, like Mr. Spock would do that.
Oh yeah, I can never quite do that properly.
This is a space blessing right here.
Do it. Yeah.
Do that around your food.
Yeah.
And there's another one like this. That's like this.
Yeah. But what's interesting about that for people who may poo-poo that very idea, I'm also a very pragmatical kind of person, and I do want to, because people are asking, well, where's the evidence of all this then? And that's the call every
personal, right?
place. But I do want to mention the evidence for the blessing or the prayer or the intentionality of augmenting the food or your drink or whatever. And that is that years ago when I used to do workshops and teaching of healing and various things along that line, people would need to have some evidence to know that it was real, that it was impacting them. And there's a fantastic guy called Larry Dossey, and he was talking on the Oprah Winfrey show. This is, like 100 years ago. And he was talking about the intentionality and the power of prayer, the power of intention, as in particularly about the impact it had. And the ultimate test for him as a scientist was that they got in these group of meditators, and it seemed that those who are used to doing that more or have a bit more power or horsepower behind them spiritually. So it is also something of practice, which is an interesting thing, but that these people were given bacteria to pray for. And what he said worked best was the open-ended prayer. So for example, it's not that let this bacteria grow, it's more like let the highest and best unfold for the bacteria. So there's no intention of what it should be, but the highest and best. And he said it was phenomenal. This bacteria grew exponentially next to others that were in the control group. And so it was with plants, and so it was with all the other things that they were testing. But it actually blew this guy away. And so there are tests and information that people go and check out on the reality of that process. So praying over food and having intentionality, like we've seen with the water crystals and that kind of thing, is real. Having said all that, and I know I am distracted moment by moment, and I find it very difficult to be that present consciously all the time. It's work in progress. I'm just being honest here. This is me. We get distracted by bill paying, or you've lost your little dog and you're dealing with the grief and all the rest of that kind of stuff, and dealing with the ceiling that's just come down or the water leak. Very hard to be present, but it is a work in progress.
That wasn't
but it's interesting because there is evidence of the real impacting of the intentionality in these different areas. Just like sending love and light to plants. And I had the privilege of seeing a very cheeky, quite naughty Cleve Baxter when he came over to England a few years ago, that wonderful American gentleman who created the lie detector, the polygraph. And he also was instrumental in realizing that plants can feel and plants respond. And he demonstrated how that worked. And what a wonderful gentleman he was, with a real twinkle in his eye, probably in his 80s then. And he went on to carry on working with the intentionality of cells and structures, people being hundreds of miles away, and then having various stimulus to, real time be recorded. And it absolutely shows the quantum field in action. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just got another question. So excuse me, rambling on. Just talking about the reality of what you're talking about, and why it can be shown to be real, and it's not just a practice of a meditative state or whatever, or something that isn't a practical application. So this is a comment. It says, my contacts, so this is an experiencer, have told me, and so far all they have told me has been perfectly accurate. I'm surprised he's not been told it's not all love and light. It says, I find it difficult to understand that he has not been told much about the coming future. I'm very surprised, because he should know if he is having contact. So there we go. Everybody has their different, I guess, niche of experience, and one person's reality is not necessarily another's, as we see. But perhaps you could just address those comments there.
No, there is good and bad on space. There is, yes, I know that. I've never experienced the bad, but I know they're there because I've had friends who have. So our main thing is because they come to attract us by our energy, so we have to keep the white, glowing, golden light out there around our aura. These negative beings will stay away from that love and energy. And it's true because people have met with different types of ETs in the 1960s and stuff, and they would say they were coming towards them, and when a couple of people, this was a long time ago, said, help me, they called out to Christ, the aliens ran because they actually said, do you know who Jesus is? And the aliens went, yes. And they said, I'm calling. And they took off. So I'm just letting people know your beliefs also help to threaten these beings who are trying to hurt you, because they are very scientific. They don't mean to hurt. A lot of them are scientific and just doing a job. But to keep them at bay, keep them away, keep your highest thoughts on the Creator, keep your mind on Christ, keep your mind on the angelic realm as well. I've never had a negative experience with an ET, but I know they exist and I've seen it. So through people who I've known. Now, about what's coming to planet Earth, there is changes going to occur. However, it is our collective consciousness on this planet that is going to transform things, not because we're looking forward to some prediction somebody made 200 years ago, or somebody saying this today, or conspiracy theories. Again, we go with those. We know the most powerful of us, we have power within us.
Yeah.
And nobody can take that from you, and no one can take that energy or soul from you. There are people that promote things about aliens coming to take your soul. That doesn't exist. That's a lie. So there's a lot of fake going on. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that can happen, because you can see many different realities that can happen when you're on those other sides.
I think also, sorry, Mark, as well, the comment was also related to information they've been given, as opposed to them holding a belief about that. So they're just reiterating it's not a belief, it's just what they've been told. And so far, what they've been told previously has not been incorrect. Excuse me, I'm going to have a cough.
It's okay.
Sorry.
Same things happen to me, and I just know there can be bad things happening. There might be stuff happening, and it's okay. If we keep our thoughts on the highest, we will be guided by our angelic realm. We'll be guided by the alien ETs up there who are our friends, and they will tell you where to go, where to be. And that is the total trust you have to have in Creator. So we can follow along with everybody who wants to believe there's going to be some kind of war, disaster. Okay, so maybe there's going to be something. Keep your thoughts on the highest, and you will be guided to where you're to be at the right place at the right time. You could be teleported out, which has happened to me and some other people. You get teleported away to another place. You can be rescued like that too. There's many things, but do not fall for the negative programming of the earthbound, let's say, consciousness. Yeah, they're seeing, the ETs and other beings are seeing many levels and frequencies of what can happen or possibly happen, but we can change it in an instant with our thoughts and our love for Creator. We could change it, and all will just come together as one. This planet will shift very much in energy frequency. I know everyone's heard that before, but it's absolutely true. Yeah, we have a lot of people at war with each other. We have to pray for them. Pray for all your leaders on planet Earth. Pray for everyone, and see them in the highest. Thy will, not mine, be done. Let thy will be there for them, Creator. Bless them all. It's kind of like we give that thought of love to them all. So I don't know who the ETs are, but there's lots of different beings out there, and many are ethereals, and they all mean well. Just listen to your heart and listen to your inner self, your inner wisdom, your insight. And if you're praying to Creator, pray for wisdom, because with wisdom, Creator offers much more than that.
Okay, so another comment is that some conspiracy theorists, and I don't know if I really go with that phrase, but anyway, are intelligent with groundbreaking research relating to truth or of truth. So, yeah, well, what's your thinking on that? That I know there's an awful, a lot around this whole subject, and also that. Maybe there are other people with truth, and maybe yours is different. So, what do you think about that?
We all have truth. Yes, it's true. We all have our own truth, and my truth is what I've experienced as well. And that's how we get our truth, by our experiences, where we've been, what we've done, and testing the spirits. I test them all the time. So we have to I feel mostly about testing spirits is one thing. Even when people do Ouija boards, you don't want to do that kind of thing. But if you're calling out channeling, you got to be careful with channeling, because channeling can be manipulated by lower astrals very easily. And things have been said that people are buying into for a couple of 50 years or more, and it's not truth. Things about Yeshua, so that have been said by certain psychics and mediums. So we got to be careful what we're listening to. If it's conspiracy, always ask yourself truthfully inside yourself, because there's so much conspiracy that scares people. And I've got friends who are into a lot of that, and I keep saying stop thinking about it and stop dwelling on it, and whatever you do, don't keep reading about it, because it just brings more of that energy around you and makes you more negative and depressed. You have to start getting rid of this energy, and also start detoxing the body, because there's metals and stuff getting into the brain. It's like a nuts. So you want to detox with cleansings that help clean out the heavy metals and the toxins in the body and the brain, and the frequency as well. So remember, dwelling on conspiracy brings negative energy towards us, including beings of the other side that are lower astral, which comes to scare us even more. And then don't take drugs and drink and alcohol. Don't do it to an excess where it's a habit or becomes an addiction. Keep everything at bay, because these are tests too that are here for us to go through. So
I have to tell you, Mark, I'm going to be having a little glass of wine after this.
yeah, but I don't take 3 bottles.
Listen, Mark, yeah, there's a question about religion. Perhaps you being religious, so if you consider yourself religious, but in the light of having access and opportunity to link and be part of a higher, I don't know, echelon or higher frequency of being. Do you need religion for that? I mean, you have a kind of religious sort of phraseology sometimes. I'm just asking if that is, do you obviously have you find it relevant to your life, but it's just interesting bearing in mind that you have the access to the head honchos in a way, those who have access to higher frequencies. So religion has caused so many issues on the planet. So I'm just wondering how that fits in with everything with you.
I know people, maybe raised a certain way or maybe not. I was raised Catholic, but even then I didn't buy the whole thing, because I had experiences already from where I came from. And I was saying to nuns and people I would talk to, I said, well, this isn't the way it is. It's not the way it is out there. And yeah, Jesus is real. He is actually real. And he is who he says he is. Now, that's a real being. He's Yeshua or Yehoshua on earth. But this was all true story. It's real. It's not a story that was manufactured thousands of years ago, that from Isis to this to Blessed Mary. No, these are actual real stories. But some of them were metaphoric in the ancient texts. So what I've understood from the other side, I've known Yeshua, but in space we know him as Sananda. And there's bad news going about the Sananda, but he's real. He actually is real. And I pasteled him because he asked me to one time. So I thought, okay, I'll start doing it. And people came to a talk where we had some of the pictures around on a table, and they never met them before. And they come up and they go, oh my gosh, that's Sananda. And they start crying. So I was like, okay, you've seen him. Ashtar as well. Now, I've actually met Sananda on a Christmas Eve, actually, back in 1999, when he came to me as a child, as a 12-year-old boy. He was comforting me with something because I was dwelling on what was going on planet Earth again. And I was crying, so he came to me, and he said, it's okay. We know, meaning we know, they know, how the Earth is and how people have different belief systems. It's all okay. We love everybody. It's all okay. So I'm here to help him because he is my friend and the ships. He's our friends. So these are like your best friend. I've met with Master Kathumi, who was St. Francis of Assisi. I met in Katona, New York, 1976. He came and telepathically we talked. He was over 6 feet change, beautiful person, smooth skin, flawless eyes where I saw stars in them. That's how amazing he was, but he was magnificent. And when I walked to follow him outside the door of the store, he dematerialized. He was gone from the road. And the people with me said, where's the guy you were just looking at? I said, he's gone. Without that, I knew who he was, of course. But they come because they understand what we're thinking, and we keep our thoughts pure. I was like a monk back then. I was like a priest. So I knew, and I was teleporting. I was levitating. I had all that kind of stuff happening, and many things would go on. So if you want proof, you have to start working on yourself and go get rid of the ego and the id and go one with Creator. And amazing things happen. I was 10 years old and I said, I just want to be one with you. And I just blanked myself. And all of a sudden I was levitating up to the ceiling on my back. So, and I came back down, of course. But it was with God, with Creator, and just loving Creator with all your heart, all your soul.
Yeah, I think that is an incredibly difficult place for most people to be, to come
But
at it from that point of view.
there's
I
beings out there. Buddha's out there. There's all these beings out
yeah,
different
yeah,
frequencies. And we have, Yeshua's always told me different things in regards. He always would show me things that happened, or he told me what would happen when I asked about a friend. And he just said, watch the miracle. And this was out of body with him. And everything my friend had asked for to help him happened, and he witnessed it. And he thought I had something to do with it, but I didn't. I just asked, just prayed. So try this. This is a test I used to do back in the early 70s. It's an actual metaphysical teaching, an ancient teaching. If you, everybody out there, if you concentrate on somebody you want to meet, let's say Yeshua, Jesus, Buddha, Yogananda, he's a friend. I've met him, I see him out there. He works on other planet systems. So you got even Ashtar. Ask for Blessed Mother. She'll come to you. But you have to focus on the person or the being you're thinking about, and do it for 1 week. Think of them. If you have a photograph or drawing or painting, great, but just use their name. And you think of them for a week and say, I can't wait to meet you. I can't wait to meet you. Maybe I'll be out of body or in a lucid dream state. They actually meet you in a lucid dream where it's real, which is an out of body. And you just say, for a week. I always give people the week, a whole 7 days. Just concentrate on them for a week. Within that time period, you'll have an experience with that person. They might even, if they're a saint, like a certain saint, like Padre Pio, they might actually give you a sign where you find a picture of their card, or locate a book, someone hands you something. Those are signs that can happen too, to let them know they're working with you. But when you're just doing this, I just want to meet you. Jesus, Mary, Buddha, I just want to meet you, and I want to talk with you. Please just do that with me once. I just love that, to be, I know you love me, that kind of thing. Thy will not mine be done. So Creator, thy will not mine be done, but I'm asking this through my heart and my soul. Every time I've worked on different people, back in the early 70s, I tried different ones just to test it, because it was an ancient teaching. I thought, let me test this. I've already met Yeshua, so I thought, let me
Can I just ask, Mark? I want to just go back. I just want to go back, because there's quite a lot of chat going on about, they think you're kind of missing the mark. And, excuse me for saying so. It's not my opinion. I'm just saying that, the fact that you're negating that there could be any, negative thing coming down the pipe for humanity in this, really big change and shift that we are clearly going through, and we are clearly coming to a point of, I don't know what, some massive change has to happen. Something has to shift. But I'm just intrigued whether, there is this massive meme. And for some people, it's not just a meme, it's real information that's come down the pipe for them, which they're absolutely convinced is as true as any other information that's come down the pipe and proven out to them. So how can we get a handle on what is correct if we've already had, understanding that other things have come true, down the years? Why would it be that these difficult times are being negated? I mean, it's about preparation as well, isn't it? So I think the thing is, and I'd like to know too, really, is there nothing of difficulty and real challenges coming up then in the next days or months or years? It feels like it's going to be months for humanity en masse. So a large part of the population is not going to be lost or transmuted. I don't know.
Well, if they remember the ancient teachings in the Bible, it talks about the 144,000. That is a metaphor, and it represents from what I understand, from where I come from, because we've been talking about it from out there, the 144,000 represents your crown chakra. The crown chakra, when it opens as a petaling effect of energy frequencies, it can look like a many-petaled flower, like very big and flowery. The 144,000 represented the energy frequencies of the petal effect.
Okay.
So raise up our consciousness, raise up in love, open your consciousness, start working on your meditation or so, or intuitively working on that, so that your consciousness is raised to that higher crown chakra. We have a little protocols that we do with our lectures, and we talk and teach. What I brought down from the craft, what we teach up there, it opens up the crown chakra, but it opens it up to the next 5 levels, which is opening to the 12th frequencies, where the people actually have met their higher selves, over self, and blended with them. So you can now meet them, and telepathically you start having experiences with them. And it's fact. We've got friends who are doing this now. So I want people to understand that raising your consciousness, stop the addictions, stop the all the self.
Easier said than done there, Mark.
No, but that's the test. That was the
Us
test.
poor little humans here, not superhumans.
No, they're not. No, everybody's going through things. And yes, there will be things happening. Sure, there's going to be climate changes and patterns going on. We've got, earthquakes. All of this is happening. It will happen. The planet is shifting with frequency. It shifts a little bit. But the shift that occurred in 2012 was not going to be a planet, destroying itself or anything. It was all consciousness shifting. They've been telling us right along. It's nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to blow up. In fact, in 2000, they were saying nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to. But people were getting upset by the computer's going to die. Now, please, everybody, I know everybody's had their own personal experiences. Everybody learns from their own experience. I'm just trying to bring in what the higher realm frequencies are telling us to teach, to learn, to right now, to help balance this out for everyone, because we will all go through things. These are trials and tribulations here. It never was supposed to be heaven here, but we can make it a heaven to ourselves. If you work on Creator, working to be one with Creator, you can be alerted with things. You will be understanding with things. Angels talk with you. I've met my angels. People have met my angel, actually. And she helped and did something for us, and she met my doorman. But they're like 7 feet tall. So the thing is, there are ways to be saved if you feel a fear of some sort. Try to get rid of the fear. Say, he who has the steerage of my course, God myself. Yeah, that was from Shakespeare. But let thy will, not mine, be done. You know the course I'm on, Creator. You know more of me than I know of me here. You know what I ask before I ask. So keep me on the path. Guide me on my steps. And I will, I praise you. And have reverence for Creator. Be humble in your heart and soul as you pray.
Can I just ask you, because I tell you what, I have a problem with. I have a problem with the, I don't know, the praising bit. I don't think I can't be appreciative of a connection with a higher element. I mean, I'm really seriously interested. So.
No, praise is love. You're sending love. It's praise like that. I love you.
Okay, so I guess we get into semantics, don't we? We have to use language, and I'm really not good with the religious orientation of, sometimes, the way things are presented. Sometimes I really have that's a bit of a stumbling block for me, just because I'm so aware that so much mayhem and chaos and murder has happened under the auspices of religion, and I just can't go there. So,
I hear you, and it's not.
That's not to say. But also
it's their mind doing it. It's people. They have their choices. You say praise, you're one with love of Creator, white light, blazing light of Creator. That's all it is. And when I say praise, that's what I mean. I'm just saying give thanks. Give thanks for what you have. Give thanks for the lessons. Give thanks and be grateful for the life, because there are many people who have lots of problems on planet Earth. They're born in certain situations, and we just be thankful and bless them, bless and pray for everyone. Pray for the leaders, meaning thy will, not mine. Like praying for the germs or the bacteria, exactly the same thing when you pray for the leaders. Their highest good be done in them and come through them for the benefit of everyone. It's about benevolence, and the crews and the space beings are benevolent. And yeah, there's some that are out there that are, manipulative, but we have to just be on the highest mode.
I know you keep, you do, reiterate that we need to pound away at the being positive thing, which, We do, and most people, are doing what they can, the best that they can, in these phenomenally challenging, difficult times. Really, it's very difficult to maintain that space that you have, Mark, and I appreciate that. Gosh,
Well,
that
no,
takes a lot of energy, as
we're not
well.
saints. No one's perfect.
No, no, no.
We're
No, I
perfect,
didn't mean
we wouldn't
the
be here.
word.
But it's true. If we were perfect, we wouldn't be here. But we're helping and we're doing things here and working through. We all have these things going on in our lives. But every now and then, step back and go, "Thy will." Oh, please, I forgive everybody who just did it, or somebody looked at you weird or said something bad, and you go, "Okay, I love you," and you just kind of let that go because that energy
Yeah,
builds up, and it makes people sick in their inside, so they just calm down and get
yeah.
calm.
I think that it's such a time of extremes, of experiencing seeing such, real difficult, challenging things, and it is almost beyond bearing, to see. So it is very tough for most people to be where you are, and nothing wrong with where you are. I'm just me, to be at that, completely unconditional and hell fellow well met, whatever you're doing. I find that really
Just
hard.
I just want
But
to say they want the symbols for people to play with. Just draw them in the air, sketch them on your sand in front of your feet, or take a little, draw it on the wall. It's just it embeds into the frequencies. There's a web, what we call the Lipica web, that's in space. We call it that here. I know not many people have heard of this
what do you
because
call it?
it's a Lipica web, Lipica, Lipik, Lipica webs. I
Okay.
talked about him from the 60s and 70s. And another guy who was a friend, he's passed on, and his name was Rex Dutta, Dutta. He lived in England. And when I went to England in 78, I went to meet him because he spoke like I speak. And I was like, and he was from space. He felt he was, but he's passed on. He was such a sweetheart. But he talked about the Lipica webs. That's why I wanted to go meet him and talk more with him. So I didn't know anybody else to talk about that. But these are frequencies. Everybody hears about the Akashic energy frequencies. The Akashic energy realm of energy is all around us anyway because it records everything that's frequencied. But the Lipica webs are even much of a finer frequency that are embedded within the Akashic energy. And these symbols are from our higher realms, like 12th, 10th, 11th, 8th, 9th. And they're in those realms in the ships where you see them moving, and they just are embedded within the walls of these created craft. From the masters create them with their thought form creations for millions of years, but they're real, and so they are from the infinite creator. They are like thought form energy, like Chinese symbol means a whole thing.
Yeah, it's
Or
a bit like the Reiki symbols, I suppose.
exactly, yeah.
And people
It's
talk
like they
about that.
have a whole thing around it in frequency and meanings. So I give when I ask them when I'm up there, when I see them, I touch them and I feel them. And I go, whoa! So I was able to bring them in. And as I go out of body out there, I'll go get more. I go touch more. So when my over part, I'll say, wait a minute, I saw a symbol that represented love. What was that? I saw it, and I saw the symbol in my third eye. Then I went out to the ships, and they're out there. So this is all from my own experience. But we've played with them with lots of people since August. We've done talks with things just to play with them. The ones we've put also on the book. My wife made a book cover. It's a mock-up. There's a couple more symbols on there. It's like a few to play with there. And so they got like 8 symbols here. And we just want, these are very important, we felt, especially connecting with our brothers and sisters in love. And we've tested on strangers, and they actually turn
Yeah.
and respond. They don't know what happened. And you
Well,
just,
Mark, listen, we've come to the end of our show, so just please give out your website for anybody who wants to go and have a look, and we'll be hearing our outro probably play over as you're saying that. So just want to thank you very much, Mark Brinkerhoff, for being with us, and just give out your website, please, and people can connect with you there.
thank you. It's intergalacticmission.com with one
Okay.
L, intergalactic one L. Because
All
sometimes
right.
intergalacticmission.com and markbrinkerhoff.com is my animal art, which is I'm an artist,
Yeah,
self-taught.
your art is beautiful, actually. We didn't get to show any of that, but it's beautiful. But thank you very much, Mark. And as I said, we're on the hour, and we're actually on time, which is amazing. We haven't had
Okay.
too many things to do with.
Everybody can reach me on those info at Intergalactic Mission as a email.
All right, that's lovely.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right. Thank you so much. Say greetings to Phyllis and thanks
Sure.
her for putting together some of the info, and that it'll be on the podcast page in due course. And we'll
And
be in touch
anybody
again.
wondering, she's experienced many of these things with me and on the ships. And so, we come from our truth. That's all. We love
Fantastic. All right. Well, listen, God bless.
God bless
And thank you. Take care. Thank you very much, everybody. Thanks for listening. And we are over and out on my year anniversary of the Ammach Files. I'll see you next week. Thanks very much.